Hello, hello, and welcome back to J is for Justice. Today's video is taking us to Crimecon, specifically Friday night and Joseph Scott Morgan. Let's get into it. As you all know, Crimecon went on last weekend in Orlando, and there were several people that we're familiar with that were there, one including Ethan Chapin's mom, Stacy. And this happened during Joseph Scott Morgan's presentation on forensics and the Idaho 4. Joseph Scott Morgan is a professor in forensics at Jacksonville State University. According to his LinkedIn, he is also a forensic analyst for CNN. He was a professor for North Georgia College and State University, and he also worked as a forensic investigator in Atlanta, Georgia, and New Orleans, Louisiana. And what happened during his presentation was totally unexpected.
My name is Stacy Chapin, and I'm Ethan's mom. And I actually didn't sit through it because it's too hard to watch, but I do want all of you to know that these were four of the greatest kids, and that all of the great things that you read about them is legitimately true. And I can speak on behalf of my own son, who was an incredible human, and we miss him all terribly. But it's a very strange situation to be. I'm not a true crime follower, but I am now thrust into the epicenter of something that has become pretty incredible. But anyways, don't forget these kids. I did watch the beginning where you spoke a little bit on behalf of all four kids, and they're amazing. They were amazing, amazing kids in the prime of their life. So that's all. Thank you.
I've seen Joseph Scott Morgan in the media, and he's always been a respectful man. Now, after this took place, Joseph Scott Morgan did a quick interview with Fox Digital. And this gives us some insight as to what was going through his mind when Stacy Chapin stood up.
My name's Joseph Scott Morgan, and I'm here at Crimecon. I was giving a presentation on the Idaho murders. And during the course of my talk, I'm a forensics guy, so I wanted to go into the detail of the deaths of these individuals at the scene, just to kind of paint the picture of what, from my perspective, had happened during that moment in time, or during those moments, because it was the way it has been described, absolutely horrific scene. And you have to pause for a moment and try to understand what the forensics of that might look like. My talk lasted for probably about, 55 minutes, I guess. And I had time for Q&A at the end, and there we were. The very last question, this lovely lady walks up. She's got blonde hair. She's at the mic, and she looks from behind the mic directly into my eyes, and she says, "I'm Ethan Chapin's mother." And I just talked about her son being murdered in arguably one of the most brutal ways possible. And all I could think of at that moment in time was, did I say anything that was untoward, or did I remain respectful? And the first thing out of her mouth was that she was happy that I had shown respect to the victims. And she didn't really have a question for me. What she turned to was essentially advocacy for the victims. And she wanted everyone to understand that her son, Ethan, was a good kid, and that the rest of these kids were good, and that they were simply college students going about their lives. And they had this unthinkable evil that was visited upon them in this tiny little house, this space that they shared. Ethan, of course, wasn't living there. He was visiting his girlfriend, but still he was there, certainly at the wrong time when all of this took place. And I got to tell you, for me, it was a moment that I'll never forget. We were in a room of arguably, I think I've heard 3,200 people, and everything just went dead still. It was perfectly quiet, and then all of a sudden, applause rose up from this gathering of people that just wanted to honor her in that moment. And people talk a lot about bravery and courage, and the fact that she had the intestinal fortitude to be able to stand for a group of people in the moment, and everything just went dead still. It was perfectly quiet, and then all of a sudden, applause rose up from this gathering of people that just wanted to honor her in that moment. And people talk a lot about bravery and courage, and the fact that she had the intestinal fortitude to be able to stand for a group of people and actually state proudly that she was Ethan's mom, and she wanted everybody to know that he was her baby and that he was gone, and he was gone at the hands of what appears to have been a monster. I knew that there was nothing in my feeble way that I could add to this conversation in any shape, form, or fashion. I knew that immediately I needed to keep my mouth shut at this point, because this woman, more so than anybody at this conference, I think, relative to these Idaho cases, she deserved to have a platform at that moment in time. And any day of the week, I'm more than happy to surrender any time that I have to a victim's family.
I really felt for him through this, because it's really hard to be invited to speak at a crime convention where you're expected to speak about your expertise in forensic evidence pertaining to a specific case. And then you've got one of the victim's mothers who comes in unexpected and unannounced at the mic in front of 3,200 or so people. That had to shake him a little bit.
Again, I haven't really been on social media in the follow-up to all of this. It's more person to person. I've had any number of people that have come up to me. First off, they've asked me, was it something that you knew about? Was it something that was planned? Was it something that was part of the program? And no, it wasn't. And then people went on to talk about how they felt as though that the presentation was very respectful, which I was hoping that it would be, and that it would just include the facts as I saw them at this point in time. And we have to understand that we don't have all of the information at this point. We don't. There's no way to have it because it hasn't all been released. But we can draw some conclusions. And what I do know is that these kids in this house were absolutely positively brutalized.
Looked online to see if I could find the presentation, and it's not out there yet. I assume that it will be put out by Crimecon eventually, and we can see what was being said in this presentation exactly. What do you guys think of this incident? What do you guys think of this happening? Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to check out my other videos and playlists for more true crime content. And if that's not enough, you can join our Patreon. Don't have a tinfoil hat? It's okay. We'll make you one. It's that easy. See you guys in the next video.
See you later. Bye.